Good morning. So this is our first lesson for the new topic, business management. I'll go through each of these slides, and each slide will have a different recording that you can go through in your own time, at your own pace, just so you understand what's going on. So this is the scope and sequence that I mentioned to you in the first video that you watched today. Now, we've only got 3 lessons this week because we've got Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. So what you'll see is lesson 1 is features of management. Lesson 2 is continuing on the skills. Lesson 3 is achieving business goals. And then next week we'll keep going. As we move down here to number 12, 13 and 14, they're lessons in themselves that we're going to spend a little bit more time on going over some financial statements that are going to be important for you when we get to year 12. There's not a lot of maths, but I will talk you through those. This document you'll see at the beginning of each of your lessons, and this is just the same document that you have. So what I would suggest that you do is, as you are going over each one of those points, you make notes for those. The other thing that I'm going to also upload for you is a template for your study notes, because that's something that we're going to expect of you to complete at various times. Now, by the end of this topic, you're going to be able to do all of these. You're going to be able to explain the internal and external influences on business. You're going to assess the processes and interdependence of operations, marketing, finance and human resources, and they actually turn out to be your 4 topics in year 12. So we're going to look at a bit of it now, and then we're going to expand on that in year 12. We're going to examine the application of different approaches to management and strategies. We're going to plan and conduct investigations into contemporary business issues, and that could be through your assessment, or it could be through case studies that we go through this over the next couple of weeks. We're going to evaluate information for actual and hypothetical business situations. So having a look at what does this stuff look like in real life, and where do we see it in real life. Communicate business information and issues in short answer, business report and extended response format. And they're the 3 things that you're going to have to do in your HSC. So we're going to start, drilling that into you now. So by the time you get to year 12, you're pretty comfortable with it all. And the last one, we're going to use mathematical concepts appropriately in business situations. And I know some of you are not very comfortable with the math side of things, but it's not difficult, and it'll be very clear for you. Now, the topic is broken up into 5 sections. So this is the first one, the nature of management. This is achieving business goals, the second thing. Management approaches is number 3. Processes is number 4. And then your management and change is number 5. So they're the things that we're going to go through. Now let's look at this slide here. It says here, management is the process of working with and through other people to achieve business goals in a changing environment. Crucial to this process is the effective and efficient use of limited resources. And that's essentially what management is, and the role that managers have within an organisation. We want to be efficient. We want to be effective. We want to work with other people. We want to balance efficiency and effectiveness, because we don't want to be a bit dodgy and not efficient or cut corners, because that's not going to look very good on us. And we're going to cope with a rapid changing environment. And I guess when we're looking at businesses in this day and age and COVID, we're looking at a lot of them that are having to scramble and say, how are we going to change our business to adapt? In regards to features of effective management, now managers need to possess a whole range of features. Here I've got some dot points. An effective manager is one who is good at planning, considering short-term objectives and how they fit into the long term. So we need to know what we need to do now to benefit in the long term. Make decisions to organise resources in the most efficient and productive combination, so not waste things. Motivate staff using the most appropriate methods of style of leadership, and we're going to look at a few important or effective managers and how they motivate their staff. Because if you're not motivated in the workplace, you're not actually going to get anything done, and your employer is not going to get the most out of you. Controls the business and takes corrective action if it deviates from the business plan. So is there a problem? We're going to fix it. We're not just going to let it go on. Manages information to make good decisions and for effective communication. So obviously we're going to need to be able to talk to people and deal with problems as they arise, and have a range of skills that they use at the right time. And I think that's one of the most important ones. Now, what we've got here, we've got the 4 functions of management. So we've got planning, organising, leading and controlling. And this is this cycle that we're going to go through. Now we've got, I guess we could abbreviate it as POLC, P-O-L-C. Now with planning, we're going to set up strategic, tactical and operational plans. So our day-to-day plans, our mid-year plan and our long-term plans. We're going to organise. We're going to use an organisational structure and procedures to implement the plan. So how are we going to make these plans work? Then we're going to lead people. So we're going to help them achieve these goals. And then we're going to control it. We're going to have a look to see what happened, what did we do, what could we do better, and how are we going to fix it. Now this list here is just a list of effective and efficient managers' characteristics. Now in an exam you might be asked a question on what characteristics does an effective and efficient manager have to possess. So you'll go through some of these skills. From there you will then explain those and then maybe link them to a real life example. So some of these skills are leadership skills, integrity, self-motivated, team player, conflict resolution skills, optimism, dependability, ability to remain calm, customer service skills and knowledge of the industry. And I think if you possess a combination of those skills, then you are going to be that effective manager. What I've got here for you is just an example of what a job advertisement would look like if you're applying for a manager's position. I mean, this one's a pretty snazzy one. It's 185K package per year. But what you can see here is all the skills that this person will require for the job. And a lot of those are based on those skills that we looked at previously. Now, with the skills of management, we're going to go through a range of these, but they sort of fall into 3 broad categories. The first one is interpersonal skills. We've then got communication skills, and then we've got strategic thinking skills. Now, when we look at these interpersonal skills, we want a manager that's able to motivate, show trust and provide support, encourage a team effort, inspire employees, vision, considering future developments, communicating goods to others, having a dream, scanning for new opportunities, and the list goes on. When we look over here at communication skills, look at this one. It says listening and hearing. So not just talking, but actually listening to what their employees are telling them. Being understanding in an environment that, people are quite different and diverse. Being open to discussing, problem solving and decision making, and then the list goes on. And then over here, this is where we're looking at our long-term plan. So this is sort of our 5 years plus, and thinking about the long term, taking a holistic approach, having a common goal, flexibility and adaptability to change. So again, this is the stuff that's going to help them in the long run. Now, today's lesson, we're going to look at 4 skills, and then tomorrow's lesson we'll continue looking at them. Now, when we're looking at the interpersonal skills, this means that they must be able to interact with their staff so that the staff feel confident with their superiors and yet to be able to approach them with any concerns. So having those people skills, being approachable, communication, we spoke about that. Communication is vital. If there's poor communication, then discussions are not going to happen. Good productive discussions are not going to happen. And the last 2, we've got our strategic thinking. So this is looking at our, 5-year plus big picture planning. where do we want to be in 5 years, and then we're going to work back for our everyday goals. And the last one we're looking at today is vision. So what is it that you actually want to achieve? Can you see that long term? Are you, scanning the market to see sort of what's out there? Now on Canvas, every lesson, I'm going to give you maybe 2 to 3 activities that I want you to complete. Now, the first one here is a glossary exercise that I'm going to ask you to complete. Now, that glossary exercise is going to be completed regularly. And the reason I want you to do that and to complete it is because it's going to help you with your writing. In your points, it always mentions that you need to be using business terminology, and this is the terminology that you're actually going to use. I want you to use the back of your textbook, but I also want you to try and put that into your own words. And these are words that we're sort of going to come across over the next 4 or 5 lessons, and they're going to be quite important for you to understand. Now, the next activity that you'll be completing is looking at management in general. And on Canvas, you've got your case study that you can sort of see here. This is your case study, and then you've got your questions. Your questions you're going to answer in a text box, and then I'm going to check that you're completing those. If you don't complete them, then I'll definitely be in contact with you, and I don't want to have to go down the path of speaking to your parents. So with this Canvas activity, we're looking at communication skills, and we're looking at Steve Jobs as an example. So I'll get you to read that and then answer the 3 questions at the bottom. So define the terms inspirational and charismatic, outline Steve Jobs' communication techniques, and propose why speaking in a friendly way is important. And the last activity today, we're looking at interpersonal skills. And what I'd like you to do is summarize the 5 interpersonal skills that you have on the left. So you've got self-management, communication, supportiveness, motivation, and conflict resolution. And then I want you to justify which one you believe to be the most effective or most crucial that an effective manager should have. So that's today's lesson. We're done with today's lesson. I would recommend that you store these and save these slides somewhere for you to go back to as needed.